everybody. Welcome back to the 5 O'Clock Sweats podcast. As always, I'm Ryan, joined by my handsome buddy.
I am the formidable forehand flicker, Derick.
And, we'll get into what that means shortly.
Oh, right. There's no context for that.
Yeah, there's absolutely no context at all. That could be interpreted in many different ways.
And as always, you can find us on Spotify.
Eagle-eyed viewers will notice again that we are down one sweat tonight. Unfortunately, Chris is unfortunately unable to join us tonight.
Unfortunately,
we wish him the best, and the three amigos will be back again soon. Once we work out some scheduling stuff. But other than that, we are here to bring you your entertainment today. And as always, Derick and I are going to talk about something that's near and dear to our hearts. And the topic this week, good old disc golf.
Yes, sir.
Something that is overdue.
Plastic. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. And I got these discs up on my wall in time for this episode. Didn't really plan to do that, but got a custom dyed compass over here, and next to that is a uplink that I got as a gift. So
I had to maximize your video so I could actually see them because I can't see them right now. No, they look good. Yeah, so this is a long overdue. We've been meaning to talk about disc golf for a while. It's actually one of the first ideas we had when we first started the podcast. It's taken a while for us to get around to it, but as they say, better late than never. So yeah, we're just going to talk some disc golf today, and Derick and I will each get into what drew us to the game, how we were introduced to it, what we love about it, and much, much more. So
yeah, how about I start off here?
Yeah.
All right. Well, so I'll start off by asking you what got you into the game. That's underhanded, man.
Great transition. Yeah, so
I feel like our stories are a little bit similar here. I think yours came before mine did, but
yeah. So we were both introduced to it by friends, and for me, I got introduced to it back in I want to say it was 2019, either late 2018, and I think it was late 2018 going into 2019. So like the fall/winter 2018 going into 2019.
Yeah, it sounds about right.
Yeah, I had a couple friends that played. I love Frisbee. Like one of my like favorite things growing up, like just one of the simple pleasures in life for me is just throwing a Frisbee and then just watching it fly through the air. I just think it's it's beautiful, but it's also just like satisfying because I don't know. It's just like you flick your wrist and then the thing goes like 50 yards. Depending on who you are. So it could sometimes go further.
Yeah, I was like, that sounds about right.
But yeah, I mean, Derick, you remember our awesome Frisbee tosses in college?
Yeah, I think that's why I was so receptive to getting into disc golf. In college, we used to just throw ultimate Frisbees around. Like, we lived right next to the intramural field at the university that we went to. So when that was open, we would just go out and run around like idiots and just throw as far as we can sometimes. But
with our catches, right? With our totally not stolen ultimate Frisbee disc or Frisbee. Sorry, ultimate Frisbee.
Hey, nobody can prove anything.
Yeah, except now there's video proof of us admitting it.
Shouts out to the ultimate team that unknowingly donated that to our apartment.
There's an alternate universe somewhere where we joined the ultimate Frisbee team and became like ultimate Frisbee superstars. I truly believe there's an alternate universe. We would have been good. Really,
I honestly think we probably could have been pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, I could have ran around catching. I got good hand-eye coordination. I could have made some awesome diving catches. And,
I'm lanky.
You are lanky, but you can throw far.
I was even lankier back then, I think.
You were. You've got some meat on your bones now.
Yeah, I don't got the cardio, as evidenced by the meat on my bones.
Yeah, so which is why disc golf is such a better transition because it's a lot less running. There's a lot of walking, but not as much running. So yeah,
yeah. How about for audience members that don't know what this sport is? Do you want to give them like a quick rundown? Maybe.
Sure. Oh, that's probably a good idea, I guess, right?
Yeah, because when we were talking about like it's not running, I'm like, yeah, it's kind of more like a hike, and I'm like, wait, nobody knows that.
Yeah. So disc golf is golf. Essentially, it's the same rules, same verbiage, like par, birdie, eagle,
etc.
You throw off a tee, you tee off, you throw from a tee pad. But essentially, it's just like golf. Your goal is to score as low as possible. And your standard disc golf course consists of 18 holes, give or take. Sometimes there's 9-hole courses, but most of them nowadays are full 18. And you just go from hole to hole and you try to score as low as possible. The average par is 3, but you sometimes have your par 4s and par 5s if you're going to your more advanced courses. So yeah, you're basically just going through the holes and trying to score as low as you can. Throw the disc as close to the basket as you possibly can, and try to be accurate. And yeah, that's basically it.
But a lot of these courses are just kind of built into like public parks, so
yeah,
it's not really specifically like a specialty place you have to go to, which is really nice. 2 of the courses that Ryan and I play together a lot are actually just built into public parks in our area, so it's been real nice. It's real accessible. I think when we both started out, we were probably not super great at throwing. And I've slightly elevated that benchmark, but
for sure. No, there's definitely courses that are better have the course better integrated into the park itself than others. I know one of our favorites, Kerr Park. They have the course basically built into the park there. It's primarily basically the park was there, and then I feel like the disc golf course was made after the fact.
For sure.
Yeah, like like the front 9 definitely has its own kind of area. The back 9 is kind of where you're messing with, walking trails and pedestrians and park goers walking by, and you got to be careful when you throw, what you throw, and maybe not take as many chances on some of the holes, and be ready to yell 4, which I've had to do a few times.
Oh yeah, me too.
But we will get into.
So now that we've kind of talked about what it is, do you want to talk about finally what how you started in late 2018, early 2019?
Yeah. So like I said, I had a few friends that played. They brought me out a couple times, and they lent me some discs. I already had, like I said, I love throwing frisbees, so I was already kind of not ahead of the curve per se, because throwing a disc golf disc is a lot different than throwing a frisbee. But I knew how to throw a frisbee. So in that sense, my friends had a way of, they were good in the sense they would give me discs that were more beginner level, so I could get away with throwing the disc without much form, because I really had no form whatsoever. I watched them throw, and they were also kind of starting out too. They were maybe like just a couple months into playing, so not saying they were great or anything, but they were definitely ahead of me. But I could basically just get away with like a couple steps and like more wrist flicking as opposed to like just full form, bringing the arm through. And I could get the disc to go a bit. And there were also some courses they brought me out to that were a little more entry level, so a little easier to score on for me. But it's just one of those sports that you really just like your first round. Like it just takes like one really good shot and you're hooked. And it was really easy. Like I don't remember the exact shot, but it just took a few holes. Like like after the first couple holes, I'm like, this is awesome. Like this is like I love throwing frisbee. I love being outside. A lot of the courses are like half hike as well, so you're like kind of trekking through the woods.
Yeah, especially the one near me.
Yeah. So it's just like a nice combination of things, of just being in nature, but also being competitive, and then getting to throw a frisbee. So I was easily hooked, and then I had to buy my own discs, which at the time were a little cheaper back then because I feel like disc golf was just starting to boom. Right, I mean, this was basically right before COVID, so disc golf was kind of starting to gain some traction, and then once the pandemic happened, it blew up like a lot, and prices started to go up because they were taking advantage of the popularity of the sport, the increase in popularity at least. And it was just one of those things that you could do during COVID without you don't have to, you're outside, don't have to worry about being in close proximity to people. You can just go out yourself and play. So a lot of people were picking it up around that time because it was just a way to get outside and get some exercise. And that was a big thing for me. Like, I don't know if I would be I probably still would be as into disc golf as I am now, but the pandemic, as shitty as it was, really got me like closer to just disc golf as a sport, because it became kind of like a companion thing for me, like a companion sport for me to do. Like when I was just tired of staying inside and binge watching the same show for the 10th time, or watching the same movie for like the 4th time, I could just go outside, and instead of just taking like a walk down the street, I could actually like go out, like be in nature and compete with, against myself, but still like do something that was, I was getting exercise and also fulfilling that competitive need that I get once in a while.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. So that's how I got started. Derick, who is the handsome devil that got you started on disc golf? I'd love to know.
This is a guy named Ryan. I don't remember his last name or his middle name or how many harmonicas he played on the dock as a kid, but it was, I think, towards the end of 2019 that it was you. You got me into it. I think it was the end of 2019. It was either the end of 2019 or like really early 2020. Because there are definitely photos in my phone that are time stamped from a little 4-hole course near you, like a little practice course.
Yep.
And I think it was summer-ish, so I'm thinking maybe late 2019, somewhere in there, maybe like August, September. But in college, when we would throw a frisbee around, I was competent at throwing it, as one normally throws. But for some reason, like the forehand always felt real good to me. Like, I would always try to like lean back and throw them, or like throw them off balance. Like, it just seemed fun. And I feel like a lot of the people that we threw around with never really messed with that. Like, nobody really got into throwing forehand. So I just kind of cultivated that craft. So when we started playing disc golf, you had already been in it for, about a year or more at that point. You're trying to teach me all the form basics of how to throw something backhand, which was something I wasn't used to. And like you were saying, like, disc golf discs do not fly the same as frisbees do. Like, you put it on any sort of angle, like, it's going to be very exaggerated as compared to like an ultimate disc. Like, ultimate, it was very forgiving in hindsight. And this required a little bit more precision than that, which I used to and still do kind of lack. But like Ryan was saying, like, over the pandemic, this was such a good thing to get into, right? Like we were saying, it's a lot of courses just out on public parks, so you're out in the open, and after a couple months, parks were open and we could just go there and do our thing. And you don't really ever run into people because it's not like a bunch of people are teeing off at the same time, just like, ball golf, right? Like you're not all just shooting off the same tee and, free for all. Like everyone takes their turn. It's fine. And since then, I mean, I don't even really know what to say about it, right? We played a ton.
We played a lot.
2020, 21, 22. To be fair, we did drop off in 2023, or at least I did, like massively.
Yeah.
But I think 2024 has come to a strong start. I feel like I've played a lot more in 2024 than I did in the last like 6 months of 2023.
Yeah, no, we've gone out a couple times already, which is nice. And I actually went out and played yesterday. Little late afternoon, early evening round before it got too dark, and didn't get a full round in, but I got like a solid 12 holes in, and it was just nice to get out. And that's also just another thing I love about it is you can it's so easy just go out, and you don't even have to play a full 18. Hell, I don't even track my rounds half the time. Sometimes, I mean, I'm going and I'm like, I'm trying to score a certain number. But sometimes I'm just going out and I just want to throw and just practice, basically. Like I treat it as like a practice round, very low stress and low stakes. I just go out there and just try different things. I'll throw multiple shots off the tee, multiple up shots, and then putt for a few times because God knows I need all the putting practice I can get.
Same.
But yeah, it's just so easy just to get up and go and play. Like, and thankfully we live in a good area where there's courses, not far at all. You live literally like 5 minutes from a course.
I think it's literally 1.1 miles.
Yeah, it's awesome. And then there's a little 4-hole practice course by me that Derick mentioned earlier that I go to occasionally if I want to practice my putting. I really wanted them to build a full 18 holes there, and I don't know if that's ever going to happen. I know there was a petition for it to happen, but I don't think I don't think they got enough signatures, unfortunately.
Right. I think you're right on that. And I'll talk to you off mic about that. I think I did hear an update, but
oh, really?
We don't have to bring that up now.
Okay.
Just immediately dox ourselves.
Yeah. But the course I mainly play at is like it's a brisk 18 minutes away tops, as long as I'm not going right after work during rush hour. It can be a little longer, but if I'm going at the right time, then 15, 18 minutes away, easy drive. And it's just I can just get up and go basically whenever, which is awesome.
And I think Chris mentioned this in a previous episode, but when you and I both go back to South Jersey, where our parents still are, they sound like they're putting in a course really close to where you would be staying.
Yes, and
so
I
also looking
wait
forward
for that to open.
Yeah, I'm gonna be sick.
I'm gonna try to. I'm gonna try to be the. I want to be the inaugural thrower. I want to throw the first disc off hole number 1. I think that would be awesome. I mean, who's the biggest disc golfer in our area? Like, I have no idea.
I was like, if I had to guess, it's somebody involved with the petition to put the thing in there.
Probably. But I'd like to think that I had a part in that because I put that idea in my dad's head. My dad is friends with the mayor of the town that I grew up in. So just saying.
It could have been you. It could have been you. Me. Ooh, what if your dad gets to throw the inaugural disc?
He's going to throw it right into a damn tree.
Yeah, right into a tree.
Right into a tree.
Immediately.
Man. But yeah, so let's just talk more about like what we love about the game. And you brought up my dad. This is probably maybe my my most favorite thing about the sport, and that is just how accessible it is to anybody.
Mm-hmm.
Like my dad is pushing, his late 60s. I got him into disc golf a few years ago, and he loves it. He loves just like coming out with me. He's not just a caddy; he's actually throwing, and it's funny because he's very competitive, and he's not gonna beat me. He's never gonna beat me. But I like, but but when rounds first start and the scores are pretty close before I eventually make some separation, he gets into it, and I made the tree joke. He literally has a knack for finding any tree on the course. Like there can be one tiny little skinny tree in the middle of the fairway, and he has like so much open space, and he'll like be aiming for the open space. He'll hit that tree. It's like it's in his head. And his reaction's always great. He's like, fuck these trees. There's always the damn trees. Like they should cut all these trees down. Like
he hits trees so often that when you and I went to the park near you with our friends Jill and Kevin, the three of us, me, Jill, Kevin, found a pin in the dirt.
Oh yeah,
that was a picture of a tree, and I think there's like a disc just hitting it and bouncing off, and then the caption like on the pin is just "fuck trees."
Yeah,
we decided to fix a pin up and give it to him, and I think he's got it on his bag.
I think he still has it on his bag. Yeah, he's got his bag's like a little. It's a disc golf bag technically, but it's like a little lunchbox for like a little cooler bag. But anyway, I love the fact that my dad can just join me out for a round and have fun, and then we get the bond. It just means a lot to me. He's actually visiting this week, so we're gonna play disc golf for sure. Like that is one of the first things we're gonna do.
Heck yeah,
we might play a couple times, so I'm already looking forward to that. He hasn't been out in a while, but yeah, that is probably the thing I love the most about disc golf is like I can bring anybody out who is interested in trying it, and I have plenty of discs. They can throw some of mine and just give it a chance.
Yeah.
And at the very least, they get to walk. They get a nice hike in, even if they're not scoring
with some
particularly
frustration sprinkled in there.
Yeah. And then and you can talk more about this, but like the another thing I love is just noticing how like improvement is so easily noticed. You can really tell how much better you're getting from round to round.
Yeah. So when you were talking earlier about how you were competitive with yourself, in my mind, I was like, oh yeah, that's kind of like seeing yourself improve, like incrementally. So that's I think that's funny that you also brought it up here.
Yeah.
And I think that's exactly how I am with most things. If I think about the video games that I play, even, right, the two mainstays there are Counter-Strike and Rocket League, which are two games where like you can see your progress. Like you can see how much better you've gotten after just like training certain mechanics or, repping certain lineups or trying to practice against bots, like in any game. And, eventually the more you do it, the better you are. And definitely disc golf hits that same itch for me. I think that's why I've stuck with it for so long, because it is something that like from round to round, I can see like, oh, I used to shoot like +5 on this course as a whole, but now I'm like randomly, not randomly, but consistently like near even par. Like that's measured progress. And I know you were saying like you don't really track your rounds that much, but if you know me,
no, you're always tracking.
I track everything. Like I think I've brought it up on this podcast before. 24 hours a day, I am tracking my time. I know exactly where my time is going into and what I'm spending my time on. So it was only natural that anytime I played disc golf, I would try to track it.
Yeah.
And it was, in an effort to see exactly that kind of stuff, right? Like if I go to the course near me, I know pretty much how I should end the round score wise. And if it's anywhere plus or minus that, I kind of know what that means. And it's nice seeing the historical data. Like, yeah, you used to suck at this course, but now you are playing it roughly as intended by the people who made the dang thing. Yeah. So I think for me, that is the biggest aspect of it that has kept me there for so long.
Yeah, for sure. UDisc is such a good tool too. For anyone who doesn't know, UDisc is the app that we use and that the pro players use to track their rounds, and it has a catalog of all of the rounds you've ever played, each course, and you can actually compare your scores to other people that have logged their scores in too. So just a cool tool, and you always, like Derick said, go back, you can see, oh, a year ago I played this course, I hit this number, now I hit this number, and I shed a few strokes off my score. So just a great way to really see your progress. And also, like, you can tell you're getting better, not just because of your score. Like, you may throw, you may have like a, I don't know, an over par round. And on paper, that might be like, okay, well, not my best day at the course, but in that round, you may have had just like one or two really bad holes, but you might have had some amazing throws, and maybe you birdied a hole you don't usually birdie, you par a hole you don't usually par, you threw a disc a certain distance that you didn't think you could actually hit. You hit a line, you're like, oh, I never hit that line, I hit that line that time.
All of this happens to me every time.
Yeah. So there's different ways of measuring your progress when you're playing disc golf, and that's also just like, I'm just addicted to that, and just like seeing improvement just from throw to throw, not so much score to score. Obviously, at the end of the day, your final score is what matters the most, especially if you're competing in a tournament or anything. But for me, and this is maybe partly why I don't track my rounds as much now as maybe when I first started, but I'm just trying to like practice certain shots and see, like, can I get this disc into this spot to give myself an opportunity to birdie, or just challenging myself to, like, if I can just like tweak my form a little bit, like, can I get that extra like 50 feet on my throw, maybe even 100 feet eventually.
Dang.
Listen, like, you see some of these pro players, and like some of them are like tiny, like skinny. Like, come on. I can throw a disc farther than them. The only thing they have over me is perfect form and years and years of practice.
but you're right there.
And natural talent, obviously. Yeah, I'm right there. No. But yeah, even to this day, I'm like, I'm doing something wrong. Like, I can definitely get better. Like, I know I can launch this disc further than I'm currently launching it. I wish I had I measured all my throws, because I don't know how far I can actually throw the disc right now.
Honestly, man, me neither.
I think maybe like maybe on a great throw, like a perfect throw where everything lines up, 400 feet, maybe.
Oh yeah, maybe. Perfect throw. Like there's one hole in particular at the park near you that we like to just go big on. Yeah. And that's hole 10 for you specifically, that like big open field. Mm-hmm. And I remember when we first started going there together, like we would consistently land, like, well, you were probably closer pretty much all the time, but you'd be around like 3/4 of the distance to the hole, and I'd be around halfway. And now, well, okay, last time we played, like we're getting we're giving like a sniff to the basket. Like we're not far off at all. and that's got to be like what 350.
I think officially it's like 350, but I feel like those distances are never exact. So give or take like 25 feet. So I would say closer to like 375.
Yeah. So if things lined up perfectly, I think you're hitting 400 for sure.
Yeah. Well, maybe I overestimated my distance because I have never been I've never been past the basket, obviously, but I've never even been like in the circle. And when I say in the circle, for people that don't know, I believe it's either 30 or 32 feet, but it's basically the 30-foot radius from the basket. There's an imaginary circle around the basket, 30 feet on each side. And that's in the circle technically, and that's where you want to be when you're playing. Obviously, I mean, you would love to be there on your second throw to birdie, but yeah, I've been maybe on the edge of circle, so within 30 feet of the basket before. But I'm just trying, like that hole yesterday. I played that hole yesterday. And,
yeah, right.
I threw 2 shots. Neither shot was particularly great. I didn't get over on the disc enough. I maybe threw a little too high, and the wind got under it. So definitely didn't get the perfect form down on those throws. I just want to be able to putt without having to jump it, or even like if I can putt comfortably, then that's a successful throw for me. Or that's a good throw for me. I'll take that any time. I don't need to have a drop in putt like on bullseye.
Yeah, I think I put too much stock into anything before the putt. I like getting. I like upshots. I guess is my.
I do too.
Is my moral of the story there? Like drive. Yeah, I mean I think I'm limited by some other factors there, but if I can get a good upshot, like to be within 5-10 feet of the basket, like perfect. Don't ever need to learn how to putt.
So yes. So you're purposely just not throwing the disc as far as you can so that you have an upshot. You give yourself an upshot that you have to nail, is what you're telling me, is that you're holding back.
What I am saying is I will tee off, and wherever my shot lands, I will adjust to try to put that second shot as close as I can. And I understand that's kind of the point of the game, right?
Yeah.
But like in my mind, it's never like, all right, I'm throwing this bad boy in. It's like, no, I need to not have to putt this far at all. Otherwise, I'm fucked.
Yep. And maybe that's a good transition into probably the biggest pain point for both of us, and that is putting. And that's by far the hardest thing to do in the sport is putting. Same thing as ball golf. Putting is just, you have to putt. You have to get that putt down. You have to. Like, that is the most important part of the game.
What is it? Drive for show, putt for the
dough. Yeah, putt for dough. Yeah, that's it. And I haven't made a lot of dough.
Right. I think total I've made maybe $18 from putting.
Well, yeah, you have made money. I've made zero dough, so I have no dough. I'm not baking anything or whatever. So, putting is something that constantly working on, and just something I still to this day, after almost 5 years of playing, still cannot get down. Like, I'll go through stretches where I'm like, I feel great. Not really stretches, just rounds. Like
immediately
one round,
walk that one back.
Yeah, sorry. Stretches insinuates that I'm good for like a few weeks or like a couple months. No, I'm good for like one round, and sometimes I'm good for half a round, and then sometimes I'm bad for the other half.
You know better than anybody that is also true for me.
Yeah, exactly, and that's the difference in our play. I think is if we can dial in that putt and just be consistent and not dread having to putt from like 20 feet out, You know, like if we can just feel comfortable with anything within 20 feet, 25 feet, maybe, you know, that makes such a difference. It has such a trickle down effect to your overall game because you're not pressured to, you know, to throw as big of a shot or get your upshot as precise as possible. You know, you're okay if you miss a little bit because you know you're going to nail that putt in the end. But that is still probably something that I mean, I know we both still struggle with that because in the back of our mind, we're thinking like, I don't know if that putt's going to go in.
Yeah. And we've both made like ridiculously long, like throw in putts, ridiculously long, normal putts before. And we've been confident with them too, but it's like the confidence is not there consistently. Right?
Yeah.
Drop the disc in the same spot 10 times. Couldn't tell you how many times I'd make it.
Yeah. And yeah, man, I'm playing with my form, my putting form. You know, I do like a staggered stance. I do like a more squared to the basket stance. I've even fucked with a straddle putt, which is basically where you just spread your legs and you go from like the middle of your body up. It's just not comfortable for me. I can't do that. So I do more of a staggered stance. And then just like consistently getting that reach, like reaching out to the basket is just something that I'm trying to really just focus on more.
Yeah, I think you and I have both kind of gone in circles with our putting forms. I feel like definitely for me, like I used to putt a certain way when I started and then kind of transitioned into kind of what I do today. But then there was a while where I was doing a push putt where like you're not even really spinning the disc that much. Like it's more about the parabola, right? The arc from like you to the basket. But after a certain point, I'm like, no, this ain't it, dog. I went back to what I do now. And I think you've done the same thing.
Yeah, I'm like it's kind of like I always think back to like when I was playing baseball, and I would always like replicate my stance off of professional players, like some of my favorite Phillies players. I would try to copy their stance. There was a couple of pro players on tour. Most notably, I've copied Paul McBeth, who is not currently the number one ranked disc golf player, but is probably like the Tiger Woods of disc golf.
Yeah,
this generation, or maybe this generation's LeBron James for disc golf. I've tried his putt. I've also tried Simon Lazat's putt, who is, you know, I love Simon, but his putt is just so nice because he spins it and it just looks so pretty when it goes in. He's also just like probably the most talented disc thrower I've ever seen. He just has a knack for it, but yeah, when his putt is on, it just looks so pretty. And I've tried it, I just can't. Sometimes I'm like, oh, I made a couple. This feels good. Maybe I'll do this. But I always end up just like having a few holes where I miss. I'm like, this isn't it for me. I don't know what to do. I'm stuck.
All right, you and I are gonna get together sometime soon and just drill some putts for hours.
Yeah,
let's do it.
Yeah, we gotta get some field work into. And we also are proud owners of portable baskets.
Yeah, mine is still in my car from like 3 months ago when I thought that me and my dad were going to use it in the backyard. I just never had the heart to lug it up the flights of stairs up to my apartment.
Yeah, you got to get more of those living room practice putts in. Mine is currently in a closet in my living room. I used to have it out in the living room, and I would practice putting. But you know what's not great is missing your putts and then hitting your wall, and the paint slowly chipping off the wall.
and we both rent, so
yeah, I rent. So you know I'm gonna have to take care of that shit before I move out of here. But there is a noticeable area of my living room where clearly something was repeatedly banging against it. And
oh yeah, I've seen it, dude. It's like your wall is bruised.
Yeah, I waited way too long to move that basket. But I actually got my dad a basket as well, because putting for him, besides hitting trees, is the most frustrating thing about playing disc golf. And I've tried helping him with his putt. He's one of those guys. He'll putt and he'll miss, and then he'll re-putt and he'll make it each time.
Yep.
I'm just like, Dad, just do that. just do exactly what you just did. He's just too timid with his putt. He doesn't really commit to it.
I understand that a lot.
Oh yeah, me too.
a lot.
Me too. So I'll probably have to give him another pep talk this week when he comes up to visit. All right, so we are going to get into some disc golf bucket list items, some things that we want to do before we kick the bucket in our disc golf lives.
Oh no.
Sorry to be a little morbid, but
we never know when it's going to be.
See, the thing about disc golf is that we can play forever. We can play when we're in our 50s, our 60s, hell, even our 70s. If we're still kicking in our 70s, who knows? I don't know if my knee is going to be able to hold up by then, but if I can walk, I'm getting out there and I'm playing. I don't care. But yeah, for me, I definitely want to travel and play disc golf at some courses, different courses, whether they're courses that are on the pro tour that the pros have played, or just like, I don't know, I pull up a website like top 10 best courses in the US.
Right. Just pick one.
Yeah. I would love to play like, I don't know, Pacific Northwest.
Yeah,
like that area, like just like deep, like green tree, like huge green trees and lush green thing, like just green grass, just a lot of green and moss and all that good stuff.
Also green, yeah.
Yeah, just a very scenic area for disc. Yeah, just a very greenic area for disc golf. And besides the rain, which makes disc golf a lot harder to play, I would love to play there. I don't have any courses there specifically, but I would just love to play in that area.
Wasn't there one in Pennsylvania that you sent me?
Oh, yes.
It was like a couple hours away in Pennsylvania, because Pennsylvania is unexpectedly huge, but like...
Yeah, it's large.
Yeah. Maybe that's the first one we head out to.
Yeah, we could do that. It's like a couple-hour trip. It could be a day trip, or you could get an Airbnb and stay the night. Play it a couple times, but yeah, I would love to play in Vermont. I've played in Florida before. There's a lot of courses down there. That's fine. Besides the humidity, but the one course I do want to play is Maple Hill.
Where's that?
Massachusetts. It's in Massachusetts.
That
is Simon Lizott's home course. They do play it on the Pro Tour, and it's one of the most famous courses in the U.S. And I do want to go there eventually. Kevin and Jill are friends who play disc golf as well. I think they've gone there at least once. I think they went there relatively recently.
Yeah, that sounds familiar to me.
Yeah, and they really loved it. And yeah, I think that'd be a really fun place to play. And we wouldn't have to play like the pro layout, even though I think that would be fun to give it a crack. But
yeah. It's like when people want like average Joes to be in the Olympics, just to like show you where an average Joe would like perform up against these like elite athletes. Like I think that would be hilarious to play like the pro layout and to see the numbers climb and climb.
Yep. It'd be a good way to like just see the difference, just like how good are these guys compared to me? And the answer is going to be immensely. They're immensely better. They're leaps and bounds better than me.
They're almost immeasurably better.
Yeah. There's a particular hole in that course where it's a hyzer shot. And when I say hyzer, I mean if you're a backhand right-handed thrower, you throw backhand, the disc will start straight and then fade to the left, which is a hyzer. And this whole particular, it's like basically all water. Like you throw from the tee pad and the basket is straight and to the left. It's got to be like 400 something feet away at least. And you're traveling like 90% of the travel time is over water. And it's a beautiful looking shot. And when the pros throw it, it looks so good. There is no fucking chance I'm getting over that unless there was like a short landing area that's like 100 feet in front of the basket that I can kind of lay up to. That ain't happening.
Yeah, if I try that, I am throwing a disc that I am firmly saying goodbye to.
Yeah, and I would definitely be packing a bunch of expendable discs in my bag if we ever do play that.
We get the dragon, the one that floats in the water.
Oh my god,
the Keep Innova one.
Yeah, that thing's basically an ultimate disc in disguise. Yeah, and there's a shorter layout too, so we could really play that, and we could compete on that one, and I think we could probably flirt with par, if not maybe a little under par.
Maybe confidence. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, we definitely could, and we'll get so much practice in before we go that
that it'll just be fine.
Yeah, it'll be fantastic. No stress at all.
Hey, what else you got on your bucket list?
One other item is I would just love to go to a pro disc golf event, and watching disc golf, watching the pro tour, the crowds look awesome, and it's cool to see like how much they've grown over the last couple of years. When I first started watching, the crowds were, they were there, but it wasn't like a throng of people. Like there were gaps between people. Like you could see the gaps. Like, there was room to move. Now when you watch, these people are just like all huddled together, shoulder to shoulder, watching these guys throw, and it's awesome. So it looks like an electric atmosphere, and I would just love to see these pro players throw in person. It would just be like awe-inspiring, like whoa. Look at that thing go, because watching it on TV just doesn't do it justice.
There's only so much you can capture with a camera,
right? But yeah, seeing in person, then just like having that reference for scale, because you can picture yourself there, like, I know how far I can get. How far can this person get?
How far is Ricky Wysocki about to nuke this from the tee?
Yeah, like 300 feet further than whatever I could do. How about you? Do you have any bucket list items for disc golf?
So interestingly, I think mine is either 100% matching yours or like a mixture of both of them, because I also want to go to a pro event. I think it'd be fascinating to watch people who have like dedicated an immense amount of time into their craft and going to event and trying to do their best, right, and outperform all the other people on their card. I think that'd be fun to witness. The other thing is, if we're talking about specific courses, I there's no course in specific that I want to play, but I also want to play one that I've seen pros play. Yeah. So I think that exactly like you were saying, like it'd just be easier to use that as a meter stick, right?
For sure.
To judge myself against. And I know it's a little bit unfair to directly compare myself to a professional player, but it's just that morbid curiosity.
Yeah. Well, I think we can make both those things happen.
Yeah.
In the coming years, for sure.
Yeah. Who knows? Maybe 2024 is that year. We've started to meet some more people, such that those two goals might be attainable in the near future. I think maybe we don't release too much information on that until maybe things are a little bit more tangible, a little bit more firmed up there.
You know, I didn't know what you were talking about, and then it just started to click. I think I know what you're talking about. So,
yep.
yeah, that
person
exciting.
and also the other person they're friends with.
True. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. That I see what you're throwing. I'm picking up what you're throwing down now. This is definitely it's something that's attainable for sure.
Yeah. And
awesome.
If you guys are listening and you know who you are, well, we'll see what we can do. But
yes.
Speaking of coverage and cameras only being able to capture so much, I know something we want to talk about is just the plethora of disc golf media there is available to consume.
Oh yeah.
I know you tend to consume more, coverage of pro events. You've got a fairly decent amount of folks that you're aware of on YouTube. I think I lean more heavily towards that. But
mm-hmm.
what kinds of things do you like to watch? Are there things that like you would choose to watch over something else if two things are on?
Yeah. So as we speak right now, the disc golf pro tour season has officially begun. It's I would say about a little more than a month into the season. They've had a couple of events, but really haven't gotten into we still have a lot of season left. And last year I slacked, as we hinted on before, our disc golfing kind of slacked a little bit in 2023. So did my consumption of disc golf media and disc golf pro tour coverage in general. I did not watch many of the events. But this year I've watched one. There was an event that took place in Austin a weekend or 2 weeks ago that was really good. And I'm going to get back on the train. I think I'm going to start watching these rounds. I may not watch every round, but I will watch at least the final round to see who won. And my go-to for this coverage, I don't watch it live because you have to have a subscription for the Disc Golf Network and whatnot. I choose to watch the recorded, the taped and the edited version the next day on YouTube. And there's a couple of different outlets or companies that do this and put that out there, but by far the best and my favorite is JomezPro. They do, yep, that is where that hoodie is from. They do the production quality of their coverage is awesome. They do a great job presenting the sport in a way that looks unique and modern, and it pops when you watch it.
Yeah. This is going to be an insanely niche reference, but somebody might get it. The Jomez coverage feels like 2018 CSGO Blast coverage. Continue.
Okay, yeah, I don't get that reference, but maybe hopefully someone out there does. But yeah, the coverage is very accessible. And then it's anchored by the three commentators who are professional players in their own right, but they're also good friends, and they're all just very charismatic and they've been doing this for a few years now. They have great chemistry, and they just have a lot of fun presenting the rounds. Jeremy Colling, Paul Uleberry, and Nate Sexton, three disc golf pro players, and I just love listening to them and their banter back and forth. Like especially, I love Nate. Nate's probably my favorite out of the three of them. I see a lot of myself in him, and I feel like I relate to him. But Jeremy Colling and Paul Uleberry, they're like BFFs, and
yeah,
just like their back and forths are so funny, and Paul's just so sarcastic, and Jeremy's like this big goofy guy, and they just like have I don't know, they just mix well together. But you combine all of that and you get very enjoyable disc golf coverage. And yeah, I really enjoy watching those, and I'm really looking forward to watching the rounds coming up in the next few weeks. But yeah, there's also just a bunch of YouTube channels. Derick, if you want to share some of your favorite YouTube channels.
Yeah. So I don't know how you introduced this to me, but I think it might have been like a basics video when I first started. But Foundation Disc Golf is a YouTube channel that I've been subscribed to, I guess, ever since you told me about him. And throughout the beginning of the pandemic, like it was always a pleasure to see them bless my feed and spend a couple minutes just watching whatever they put out. A lot of their stuff is informative. They've built a company on top of their YouTube videos. They sell discs that I recently bought a couple discs from them that I think you saw last time you were at my place.
Yeah.
And I think that what I like most about that channel is the two main guys. Like, you can tell that they've been friends for a while, and they both took and take disc golf pretty seriously, just as a sport. But when they are filming their videos, like it's just guys having fun. Like, sure, it's basically competitive. Yeah. Sure, they've got like, if their video is based around like a certain premise or gimmick or idea, like they will absolutely like play into that and like ham it up a little bit. But like they are both great disc golfers, and like, I don't know, it's just like casually having fun, even though sometimes like the most fun could be not performing to your best. Like, I think that mentality of like, this can just be a casual fun thing is what appeals to me there.
Yeah, and I love Foundation. They're great. But what I just feel like they're so relatable, especially for like you and me, who were like average to above average disc golf players. We're above average, but
thank you. We're comfortably intermediate.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like we're like not too far off from them, and I would even go as far to say as like, I think if we played doubles against them, we would have a good shot.
Yeah, we could give the Bogey Bros a run for their money.
They and this is kind of like a joke of theirs. They you said they're great disc golfers. I don't think they would call themselves great disc golfers. They're good. They're definitely good. And there's things they do well, but they're just like us. Like, they're not consistent with their putting, not consistent with their upshots, tee shots. Like, they're flawed players. And that makes the content more enjoyable for me, because I see a lot of myself, and you see a lot of yourself in them when you're watching them play, and you're seeing them like struggle putting. Like, oh, I do that. I miss putts like that too.
Yeah, it's a way different experience than like tuning into a like Simon Lizotte video and just watching him be ridiculous for 18 minutes.
Yeah, he's friggin' throwing ricochet shots off of like 3 trees and a moving car, and getting in the basket right in the dead center chains. But yeah, I love my favorite segment from Foundation is their Bogey Bros travel, whatever they call it. They basically go around and challenge, or not, other people that like fans of their show challenge them to come to their home course, and then they fly out, they drive out, whatever. They go out there and they meet these people and they play around with them and they record it, and it's a video they release weekly or bi-weekly or something, relatively frequently. But I feel like they never win those. Sometimes they do, but
and yet they still have an undefeated streak.
Yeah, that's my favorite bit, is like at the end they could have lost by like 10 strokes. You're like, well, this was called because of a foot fault or something. There was some crazy thing they come up with on the spot that the game doesn't count. So they're perfect streaks intact. Yeah, I really do enjoy those guys.
Yeah.
Another YouTube channel that I like, and I know you're a big fan of these people as well, is Overthrow. They are probably by far the best, well, in my opinion, the best instructional disc golf YouTube channel out there.
Yeah, it's a very powerful combination. So Josh is like the face, I guess, of the channel. He's, I believe, a disc golf coach, right? So he's like super good at explaining things that he wants to try to explain. And then behind the camera, you've got Mikey, who also plays disc golf pretty well and like is a crazy good tennis player as well. But I think his bread and butter is like media production. So like he does all the filming, does all the editing, all that jazz. And I think the combination of someone in front of the camera and someone behind the camera, like the stuff they put out is great.
Yeah, and like Jomez, like the presentation of their videos is just it's so palatable and it pops and it's clean and it's just really well done and tightly edited and it's just pleasant to watch. Like I know you appreciate good editing, and Mikey does a hell of a job editing those videos, and Josh is awesome at explaining maybe complicated form concepts in a way that beginners, anybody can really understand. And I've incorporated some tips he has into my game, sometimes successfully and sometimes not because of him, because it's always user error. Like he's never wrong. I'm the one that just struggles to implement into my game. But yeah, no, I do love those guys, and I'll usually I'll always check out something, and whatever, if it pops into my feed, I'm going to check it out and see if I can learn something.
Yeah, and I feel like a lot of us have learned via YouTube, and that goes back to the whole accessibility thing, right? Like anyone that can pick up and throw a disc can pick up and throw a disc, like and you don't need great form, but if you want to learn it, like so you don't hurt yourself, like you can just do that on YouTube, and I think that's great.
Yeah, I mean, I did a lot of that during the pandemic. A lot of YouTube watching, a lot of form critiques and instructional videos. And I would literally minutes after watching a video, I'd go out to my local course and try to copy what I learned. And it's very accessible and for anybody.
Yeah, I should do that more.
We both should.
Yeah.
And we can talk about our own little channel that we kind of an experiment for the two of us that we had a little bit of fun with.
Yeah, that was an interesting time in our lives. I guess I was like 2022. We started a YouTube channel called Off Axis Disc Golf. We are still on YouTube. We haven't put anything out in a little bit, but that was kind of our attempt to kind of be like those other two channels, or maybe that's being too harsh on us.
Definitely more foundation.
It's
the same premise basically.
The problem with that is normally they have a dedicated person behind the camera, no matter which YouTube channel you go to. And we just had to do the whole dang thing ourselves. So it got a little cumbersome, a little tiresome. Always having to lug a camera around, always having to make sure that we could film the shot in, a competent way. It was fun, but I think we fell off of that a little bit once disc golf started falling out of our lives a little bit. The last year.
For sure. But it's something that we could always pick back up. And
absolutely.
I have a sneaking suspicion that we will eventually.
2024 feels a lot better for disc golf. I don't know why 2023 just wasn't.
Well, I know why. Well, for me, it was because of pickleball. I got really into pickleball last year and still am, but I'm trying to balance the two now because I do miss disc golf for sure. And then with the weather changing now, more daylight after work, can go out and play around. Don't have to wait till the weekend anymore. So
yeah. And for me, 2023 wasn't great for disc golf because of crippling anxiety. So that did make things quite difficult. But again, 2024 looking up, man.
Yep, new year, new you, new me, and yeah. Well,
I think in 2024 we will be picking up our discs, throwing them, and sending them right into the chains, right into the basket. And you can send us messages right into our inbox. On Instagram, we are at 5 o'clock sweats. On X, we are at 5 o'clock sweats. You can consume this podcast in audio video format on YouTube or in audio format alone on Spotify and Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. Anything else?
No, sir.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for the disc golf episode, man. That felt good.
Yeah.
We've been wanting to talk about this for a while, and I feel like with the weather warming up, it was about high time we did this.
Yeah, definitely. We could have talked a lot more, honestly, but you know,
well, we can leave the door open for more episodes. Yeah, time is of the essence. You're right.
Yeah.
Well, I guess there's only one thing left to do, huh?
I guess so.
All right. Thanks again for listening, and as always, stay sweaty. I wanted to yell 4 at some point, and then I'm like,
4.
It's 10 o'clock.